Women often feel lost as investors, so where do we begin and how should women get started? How do women make themselves heard at work, in meetings, in the boardroom, and also in their personal life? Now, I've been speaking to many young women, and those questions seem to come up over and over again. And the other two questions are, how do I make a decision and how do I build confidence? We work in male-dominated industries, and we want to make sure that our voice is heard. We also live longer than men and need to prepare for our life stages. To help us find answers to these questions and more, I'm joined by Rita Trichur, an award-winning journalist and a great voice for female empowerment. Rita's a senior business writer and columnist at the Globe and Mail's Report on Business. Thank you so much for being here, Rita.
Well, thank you for having me.
I love our conversations. I have to tell you, our conversations are always just full of life and full of help for younger women and every woman of every generation. So I know that the pandemic has affected women's finances, but my question to you is how and what are the lessons learned from this crisis?
Okay, so at the beginning part of the pandemic, the first wave, women were disproportionately affected by the job losses. A lot of the job losses that resulted from the economic shutdowns were in the service industry, and women bore the brunt of those layoffs. And you know, the lessons that we really have to learn is just, how easy it is for women's gains in the workplace to be wiped out. At one point, RBC had estimated that 30 years of women's workforce gains had been wiped out in a matter of weeks.
Wow.
I mean, that's really frightening if you think about it. So in terms of the lessons learned, we have to really think about ourselves, the need for an emergency fund. I mean, that goes for anyone, not just women. But I think the pandemic and the suddenness of the onset and the economic shutdowns, the layoffs, really brought that issue to the fore. The ability to manage your personal debt load was another issue that came to the fore during the pandemic. So women had a really difficult time also if they were able to keep their jobs. They were suddenly in this position that they were working from home. But then dual responsibilities of, working from home, but also taking on the, brunt of the childcare
right.
and the domestic responsibilities. And that was a lot to juggle, particularly during a time of online schooling. I mean, it really pushed some women to their limits. So again, the choices that we make, life partner choices.
And that's really important. I just wanted to jump in there. A lot of people think that, I'll just marry, whomever or use somebody as a partner or have someone as a partner. But it's really a team effort. And you really do need to have the proper team member in order for yourself to flourish, in order for women to flourish.
You really need to have somebody who's interested in seeing you achieve your potential as a human being. And so, yes, pick your partner wisely.
I think that's really, really important. One of the things that you talked about, women struggled. I was speaking a while ago at the very, very beginning of the pandemic, and I basically said, well, my mother struggled when my parents came to Canada. Immigrants, she took whatever job she could. She was cleaning homes, carrying me in one arm, my diapers in another, my food, in another bag. And I said, the struggles have always been there. The only difference is that, now you can purchase your diapers and now you've got cell phones to make life a little bit easier. But other than that, it's always been a struggle.
Yes, this division of labor at home, the unpaid labor that women do to support the Canadian economy, I mean, it's exponential. We can't put a price on it, really. I know some people have tried to calculate it, but women do bear the burden of a lot of responsibility. And so, yes, a more equitable division of labor is very, very important in terms of your own personal relationship. But the other big issue and the big thing that happened during the pandemic is suddenly universal childcare was not just a women's issue. It started to be seen as good and smart economic policy. You suddenly saw the CEO of the Bank of Nova Scotia, as an example, speak up in favor of a universal childcare system. And you saw the federal government strike deals with a number of provinces.